The most powerful exits don't come with warnings. They don't come with noise. They come with silence. Silence so deep it lingers. It unsettles. It haunts. When you announce your departure, you give them closure. You give them certainty. You give them an ending. But when you fade without a word, without drama, without confrontation, you leave them suspended in emotional incompletion. And the human mind hates incompletion. It replays it. It obsesses over it. It chases answers that never come. Soft withdrawal isn't weakness. It's silent dominance. It's the art of pulling your presence away, so quietly, so cleanly, that they don't realize what's happening until the void is too big to ignore. In this video, you'll learn how to exit without noise, how to create emotional vacuums without conflict, and how to make your absence more powerful than any confrontation ever could be. Because sometimes the most devastating move is the one they never see coming. Part 1. Why soft withdrawal creates more impact than confrontation. Confrontation feels powerful, loud, explosive, visible, but visibility is not the same as impact. When you confront, you trigger defense mechanisms. You provoke arguments. You invite resistance. People don't listen when they feel attacked. They defend. They justify. They fight to protect their frame, even when they know they're wrong. Confrontation hardens walls. It escalates noise. It feeds the ego. And ego fights back. Always. But when you withdraw silently, when you fade without warning, you bypass the ego. You bypass the defenses. You leave them with only one opponent, their own mind. They don't get closure. They don't get final words. They don't get to spin a story where they were right. All they're left with is the vacuum, the empty space where your presence used to be. And that space expands inside them. It echoes. It destabilizes. Because there's no enemy to fight. Only a question they can't answer. What happened? Why did they fade? What did I miss? The mind hates unanswered questions. It loops around them. It replays them. It obsesses over them. Soft withdrawal doesn't destroy relationships. It makes people destroy their own certainty. And in that uncertainty, you become unforgettable. Not because you shouted, not because you fought, but because you left silently and took the gravity with you. That's why soft withdrawal hits deeper, lasts longer, and leaves scars that no confrontation ever could. Part 2. The psychology behind soft withdrawal. The human mind can handle endings. It can handle conflict. It can even handle rejection. But what it struggles to survive is ambiguity, unfinished energy, the absence of closure. This is emotional incompletion. The mind is wired to close open loops, to find resolution, to label experiences, to end the story. But when you withdraw softly, when you fade without explanation, you break the narrative. You leave the story open-ended, suspended, unfinished, and unfinished stories consume emotional energy. The brain replays the loop over and over. What went wrong? Did I miss something? Could I have changed it? Every replay deepens the emotional imprint. Every question sharpens the craving. This is amplified by the Zeigarnik effect, the psychological principle that people remember unfinished experiences far more vividly than completed ones. When closure is denied, memory clings tighter Obsession grows stronger. And then comes emotional disorientation. Soft withdrawal doesn't just create craving. It destabilizes their internal emotional structure because they can't anchor what happened. They can't categorize you as an enemy. They can't blame you openly. They can only feel the absence, silently, painfully. Without closure, the emotional system keeps reaching toward what's missing. And the more they reach, the deeper the emotional imprint becomes. You didn't destroy them. You didn't fight them. You didn't explain yourself. You simply disappeared and let their own mind become the battlefield. That's why soft withdrawal is the most silent and most devastating emotional strategy you can ever master. Part 3. 5 techniques to execute soft withdrawal perfectly. Soft withdrawal isn't passive. It's a deliberate, precise act. You don't vanish chaotically. You fade strategically. Here are 5 techniques to execute soft withdrawal with maximum psychological impact. Technique 1. Gradually decrease your response intensity. You don't cut communication instantly. You taper it. Shorter replies, longer pauses between responses, less emotional investment per interaction. The shift is subtle, almost imperceptible. But the emotional tension grows underneath. It feels like something slipping away. Slowly, inevitably. Technique 2. Shrink emotional availability. You don't share feelings as openly. You don't mirror their energy as deeply. You keep interactions lighter, more surface level. Not cold, just less penetrable. You create emotional distance without announcing it. Technique 3. Stretch time gaps between interactions. If you used to reply within minutes, now you reply in hours. If you used to meet regularly, now you cancel occasionally without apology. You normalize your absence, one small stretch at a time. Predictability dissolves. Presence becomes a question mark, and questions fuel craving. Technique 4. Redirect emotional energy elsewhere. Start investing your energy elsewhere. New projects, new people, new priorities. Subtly, without announcement, without fanfare. You don't punish them. You simply evolve your gravity toward different orbits, and they feel the drift, without understanding why. Technique 5. Maintain neutral, unshakable energy. No bitterness, no anger, no emotional leakage. You stay calm, grounded, neutral. Your withdrawal isn't revenge. It's evolution, and evolution doesn't explain itself. Your silence says, I don't need to fight for space. I simply reclaim it. Master these 5 techniques, and you'll create emotional vacuums. So clean, so silent, they pull harder than any confrontation ever could. You don't have to slam the door. You just leave it slightly ajar and let the silence devour everything inside. Part 4. Common mistakes that ruin the soft withdrawal effect. Soft withdrawal is an art, but it's fragile. One wrong move, and the emotional gravity collapses. Here are the fatal mistakes that destroy the silent power you're trying to build. Mistake 1. Withdrawing too abruptly. If you cut them off instantly, you trigger defense, not craving. Abrupt disappearance feels aggressive. It feels like punishment. It gives them an enemy to blame. Soft withdrawal must feel like a slow fade, not a slammed door. Tension builds through subtle absence, not sudden rejection. Mistake 2. Creating drama or confrontation. If you create arguments, accusations, dramatic exits, you kill the emotional vacuum. Drama provides closure. Closure ends the craving loop. You don't explain your absence. You don't justify your shift. You just shift. Quietly, cleanly, relentlessly. Mistake 3. Showing emotional resentment. If your withdrawal leaks anger, hurt, bitterness, they can frame you as the emotional one. That allows them to regain power internally. True soft withdrawal is emotionally neutral. No blame, no heat, just quiet disappearance. You don't storm out, you evaporate. Mistake 4. Trying to force them to notice. Withdrawing isn't a performance. You're not fading away to provoke a reaction. You're fading away because your gravity is moving elsewhere, regardless of whether they notice immediately. Needing them to chase you breaks the stillness. It leaks insecurity. Withdrawal must feel inevitable, not needy. Mistake 5. Closing the loop yourself. If you send a final message, "I can't do this anymore. I'm walking away." Goodbye forever. You destroy the power. You give them clarity. You give them a storyline. You give them closure. And closure kills obsession. You don't explain the fade. You don't announce the ending. You simply stop feeding energy and let the silence open an emotional wound that never quite heals. Avoid these mistakes and your soft withdrawal becomes an invisible blade, cutting deeper than any spoken word ever could. You don't leave with noise, you leave with absence, and absence echoes louder than any confrontation ever will. Part 5. Real examples: how to fade smoothly without saying goodbye. Theory gives you clarity, application builds gravity. Let's break down real-world moves, where soft withdrawal pulls harder than any confrontation. Example 1. The gradual shift in response patterns. You used to reply quickly, warmly, with emotional engagement. Now dash. Your responses are slower, shorter, more neutral. No announcement, no explanation, just a slow recalibration of energy. Impact. They notice the change. Before they understand it, they feel the drift and start chasing clarity. You don't supply it. Example 2. The emotional detachment without coldness. You still interact, you still smile, you're still polite. But the depth is gone. No personal disclosures, no deep emotional hooks, no open-ended conversations. You become a pleasant surface, calm, untouchable. Impact. They feel the missing depth and crave the intimacy that once flowed freely, but it never returns. Example 3. The delayed availability. You no longer prioritize them. You respond when you want to, not when they expect it. You break patterns subtly, late replies, longer gaps, occasional silence, impact. They start questioning their place. They chase the interaction harder. They lean in, while you lean back. And you never explain. Example 4. The unannounced shift in priorities. You focus your energy elsewhere. New projects, new relationships, new directions. You don't make grand statements. You don't declare independence. You simply redirect your presence without fanfare. Impact. They feel your gravity moving. They sense the emotional vacuum growing, but they can't pinpoint why it's happening. The mind fills the silence with craving. Each of these moves fuses soft withdrawal into emotional gravity. No fighting, no closure, no noise. Just slow, strategic disappearance that turns your absence into their silent obsession. Final CTA. You don't have to announce your departure to make an impact. You don't have to create conflict to leave a mark. You simply fade, quietly, calmly, strategically, and in that silence, they feel the weight of what's missing. Not because you forced it, not because you argued for it, but because absence, when crafted correctly, speaks louder than confrontation ever could. Soft withdrawal isn't weakness, it's emotional sovereignty. You control your energy, you control your presence, you control the emotional field without lifting your voice or swinging your fists. You just stop feeding noise and let the silence carve the craving deeper, because the most powerful exits are the ones they can never explain, never understand, never forget. Smooth transition. In the next video, we sharpen the blade even further, because once you can fade without noise, the next level is learning how to trigger deep emotional need without ever giving anything real. It's called desire engineering. Trigger emotional need without giving anything. Because true power isn't giving more. It's giving just enough to make them addicted to their own craving.